I think she was doing what prosecutors need her to do, which, first of all, Stephen, is to come across as credible, to come across as sympathetic, to tell her story, to put the jury in her shoes. Remember, in a trial setting like this, the witness is sitting feet away from the jury, 5, 10 feet. She is right there. And it sounds to me from talking to people in the courtroom and reading her testimony that what she talked about was clear. I think she detailed some really horrific experiences she went through. And I think she came off as credible. She didn't give the sense that she was stretching or going out of her way to say things that were damaging to Sean Combs. But you raise a really important point, and this is what the defense argued in its opening statement. And by the way, I thought this was an excellent opening statement by the defense. Sometimes you'll see defense lawyers get up there and say, everything you'll hear from the prosecution is BS. Their star witness is a liar. They have bad motives. That's not what the defense did here. I think they very smartly said, I'm paraphrasing here, but they said, he's not a good guy. He's done really bad things. He had a drug problem. He was domestically abusive of Cassie. However, the defense argued that is not what he's charged with. And they're right. This is not a domestic violence case. This is not an assault case. It is a federal racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking case. And so I think a big part of the defense, and we'll see this, I think, when Cassie gets cross-examined, probably late in the day on Wednesday, is you don't have to believe she's a full liar, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. 100% that is a dynamic in the courtroom. You know, I practiced in that courthouse for much of my career in the Southern District of New York. People have this misconception that the jury is sort of this monolith. All it is 12 regular people, 12 people from Manhattan and the Bronx, maybe Westchester County. They are subject to emotion like anyone else. And yeah, if you're the prosecution, you do want to inflame the jury. There's limits, but you want to show them that video. You want them hating him. You want them being disgusted. And I think what the trick is, the difficulty for the defense lawyers is you have to prevail upon the jury to say, look, you are not here to rule with your emotions or your heart. You are not even here to rule on whether he's a good person or a horrible person. You are here to rule on whether the prosecution has proved the specific federal crimes they've charged beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, by the way, I don't think the prosecution is going to be unable to prove its charges, but it is important to note that the charges are more dramatic and sort of more far-flung than just domestic violence and just assault. So, no, not yet. I mean, they're still early in their case, but I think they'll get there. The racketeering laws, and I used to use these laws, charge these laws all the time, are very broad. And what they allow federal prosecutors to do, and again, this is a federal prosecution, is to pull in certain things that would otherwise be state crimes. So, for example, domestic violence or just an assault, like we see on that video, that would ordinarily not be a federal crime, but you can bring it into a federal court as evidence of the racketeering enterprise. Now, first of all, it's going to be a female defense lawyer who cross-examines her. I mean, if they send a male to cross-examine her, that is malpractice.
Wow.
And, you know, you have to go after the prosecution's key witness. You have to be pointed and aggressive, but you also don't want to come across as being domineering or a bully. A lot of it's just an appearance issue. Look, this case is about a male abusing females. And so, look, cross-examination can get pointed, and you don't want to be in a position where the jury's watching a male defense lawyer, you know, not literally, but figuratively beat up on a very pregnant female witness slash victim. So I think there's a sensitivity there, whether we'll get to see it in the public. But that tape is a crucial piece of evidence. The jury's going to need to see and consider every bit of that. And they actually had Cassidy Ventura narrating it sort of piece by piece, which I think is really important. A, because it bolsters Cassidy Ventura's testimony, but B, it allows a firsthand participant, the victim, to tell the jury exactly what they're seeing there, what's happening each step of the way.